Here's a question from a critic in the chat, and I was going to specifically ask you about coral structures, fossilized coral structures, but it looks like a critic got to it before me, so I guess we'll have some fun with that. And he's basically saying, if we look at the growth rate of the Great Barrier Reef, it would be thousands of years to get that big. So basically, these critics say if the world was young and there was a worldwide flood, we wouldn't have these massive coral structures. Is that true? And what's a good response, Dr. Grady?
You cannot take a rate that occurs in science today and extrapolate it backwards forever. Rates change over time, and we can prove that. And so to apply a growth rate of the Great Barrier Reef today and imply that it has been doing the same thing for millions of years is a scientific absurdity. I would also point out that I mentioned about the White Cliffs of Dover, that this is a bloom so big we can't even personally understand how it could be, but the hot waters of the earth after the flood would allow for these large blooms of biological organisms. By the same token, it would allow for rapid growth of reefs. Coral doesn't have to grow slow and gradual. It can really grow quite rapidly. If you have had a child, and let's say today they're 10, 15, 20 years old, but think about them when they were 3, okay? Now, between their 3rd birthday and their 4th birthday, how much height did they get increase? Donnie, I don't know whether you fall in that category or not. I'm not aware of your family. But would you hazard a guess? Let's say a boy 3 and a boy 4 years old. How much height did he get in 1 year?
Yeah, well, I've got 3 kids, one who's 6, one who's 4. So from 3 to 4, time flies by. I mean, quite a bit. I'm not sure the exact number, but.
Okay, so would you say they grew at least 2 inches?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think that's maybe even a low number, but let's say 2 inches a year. Okay, great. So how tall will they be at 30?
Right. I mean, they could be 6 feet, 6'1".
Well, wait a minute. If they grow 2 inches per year for 30 years, after they're already a certain height at 3 and 4,
right?
How tall are they going to be?
They're going to be a lot taller than 6'1".
You really think they're going to grow 60 inches? My point is, you cannot measure a rate that occurs now and extrapolate it time, because obviously the growth rate of animals, people, changes over time. Now, before I started getting compression in my lower back, I topped out at 6'2.5", but I didn't stop growing in height until I was 25. Now, many people stop growing even in late teens or early 20s. I happened to continue to grow till I was 25. But my point was, I didn't continue to grow at the same rate that I did between my 3rd and 4th birthday. And again, biological creatures grow at different rates at different times. We know from studies of dinosaurs that biologically dinosaurs grew very fast into their they were very fast growers till they were in their juvenile years, and then they slowed down. And so again, you cannot take a look at their size and say, well, it would have taken hundreds of years for them to grow this much, or the Great Barrier Reef, or anything else. You cannot extrapolate this. It's not scientifically valid unless we actually have data, actually measure these things. Then you're making a big mistake in your extrapolation.